Hello, lovely souls. Welcome back to another episode of Becoming a Powerhouse Brand. Today, I have the lovely Alessia Pace on, and we are going to be talking about new beginnings. We're going to be talking about spiritual awakenings, about the identity shift that happens when you start getting into the work of healing yourself, and how no matter what is going on in your life, no matter how traumatic, how awful, even if it's not anything bad that's going on, but you just feel that nudge of there must be something more, that is a sign for you to move forward into what is going to be your next chapter. So Alessia, welcome back to the show. So excited to have you
Thank
here.
you.
So
Thanks.
excited to have you here. Alessia, we connected. We were just talking before hitting record. It was
Mm,
years ago, wasn't it? We met
yeah,
at an event,
yeah.
and I think we were both we were in spaces in our businesses and our lives where we're kind of like just figuring out what that next thing is. We're trying to grow something, learning, obviously doing all of the things you're taught to do. But actually, both of us have had such an interesting and big shift over the last few years. I would love to start this episode just talking about your journey,
Yeah.
where you came from. Obviously, we may be talking about topics that might be traumatic. So I'm just going to put a little note here for anyone that's listening. But it would be really good to just hear where you came from and how you got into the work that you do today.
Yeah. Okay. Oh my goodness, where do I start? Right. So when I met you, Jackie, I was actually doing work where I was coaching with domestic abuse. So victims of domestic abuse. I don't actually use the word victims, but women who were experienced that and women who were surviving it. And I worked with those women and I absolutely loved it. And I was so passionate about it because my background is actually safeguarding. But I just found that I think that work really triggered me because going back, I was actually brought up a Catholic and I was very kind of into that and very religious with it all. And I worked in safeguarding and I was very much the kind of person that you become a wife, you become a mum. Yes, you can have a business, but don't do too much of it. But make sure you have a secure job and so you can get a mortgage and all of those things. And that's kind of that foundation that I was living in. And that's what I thought was the norm, right? And that's what I thought was what I was meant to be doing. That should make me happy. But over time, I recognized I was in an abusive marriage, and it was very controlling, and I was very much put in a box by him, and I couldn't be me, and I was made to be silent and made to kind of be a woman that merged into the background. And I had to follow him basically. And so, we had three children together and it was a real difficult time. And financially, I had to rely on him. So I had this kind of thought in my head that I need to have some sort of extra income to help me escape, to help me leave. So I did a coaching accreditation and it was something that I absolutely loved. And I thought, oh my goodness, I could do so much with this. And I thought, oh, domestic abuse, because ironically, in the job that I did in safeguarding, that was my expertise, was domestic abuse. But actually, I was in an abusive marriage. And actually, you find that quite a lot when people are working in those kind of roles. A lot of the time, they've either experienced it or they are experiencing it. So I was just kind of taking each day as it comes, trying to make my plan of how to leave. Um, but financially, I was so broke. It was unbelievable. And in my head, it was like I needed him for money, but also I needed money to leave. And I couldn't really show I was starting a business to him or my family, really, because it wasn't the norm for a woman, especially. So I basically started to do this domestic abuse coaching, and I found it really difficult because it actually really triggered me. And then what I also found I was doing was I was trying to help these women, but I was never switching off because I just constantly wanted to check in on them, constantly wanted to check they were okay. And obviously for them as well, like that I was the person that they could turn to for everything. So they were always in my DMs and stuff. And I just found it really draining, but I really wanted to do it. And in the background, I had him. So COVID hit, and that was kind of a real pivotal moment, probably, of where I really found another side of kind of the world, I guess, and that was spirituality, something that I completely was opposed to before. But basically, I would go into the garden and I would look at the moon. And I always felt very drawn to the moon when I was a child. And I was doing that a lot, thinking, oh my goodness, the moon is just so beautiful. And then I don't know how, but somehow from that on Instagram, I think I was searching about the moon, discovered what the full moon meant, what the new moon meant, and that was it. It was like a rabbit hole of this kind of whole other world of crystals and energy and card readings. And I was like, oh, I love it. But then a part of me was like, you can't do that because your parents won't be too pleased. Your friends will think you're weird. He will be even more on you about things, being the husband. So I kept it very quiet. And it just kind of slowly grew, a little bit more, a little bit more. And I carried on doing my business. And I started to talk about my business a little bit more to friends and family. People were like, oh my God, that's so good. That's really, really cool. Like, that's so good. And but you can't do too much of that because you're a mum. Oh yeah, no, I can't do too much of that. Yeah, because I was going to burn myself out. And I've got to be present as a mum, I've got to be present as a wife. So I was itchy in the center of all these different things going on around me, trying to discover who I was. And then I'm sorry if this story is a bit all over the place. I'm trying to figure it all out on how to
No,
make
it's
it.
all making sense. It's all good.
I've been awake since 4 o'clock this morning, Jackie, with my baby, so that's my excuse. So,
You're all good.
oh goodness. So yeah, then I started to sell crystals, and I actually did that on the side, and I discovered, oh my goodness, actually intuitively, I feel very connected, and I can feel things with people. And as a child, I always did, but I just thought that was what everyone felt. Like I could walk into a room as a child and be like, someone doesn't feel good here. And in my job in safeguarding, I would get a case. I would go and it wouldn't have much information on it. I'd go into a home and I'd be like, I think this is happening. I can feel this. That's not right. And I could pick things up so quickly, but I thought everyone could do that.
Mm,
To me, that wasn't, anything other than, yeah, it's just normal. And so I recognized actually piecing all those things together. Oh, I think this is a gift. I was like, oh, okay. Started to do oracle pulls for myself and for my friends. And then when I was doing them, I could feel their energy. So I could literally feel, again, it's going to sound strange, but I could feel the person's body. I could feel energy that was stuck. I could feel, and I could start to see and sense trauma they'd experienced. I could feel within the body physically whether there were any ailments, whether anything was going on. I could literally feel it. And I thought, is this what you're meant to do when you get an oracle card pull? I don't know, but let's just roll with it. Again, I kept everything very, very quiet. Very limited people knew about that. So I then created an Instagram page and I was like, oh gosh, started selling the crystals, started doing card pulls and things. And then I thought, if people find out, what are they going to say about me? Like I had that massively in
mm.
my head. Crystal started to come into the house. He discovered them and he discovered my oracle cards. And he told me I had to get rid of everything because it was evil. Okay.
Wow.
So all these kind of worries that I had, which looking back, I guess is a lot connected to the witch wound, which is something else we could talk about. I had him saying that, and I knew that my parents would definitely not approve of it. So I was like, okay, I just got to keep this very quiet. But it grew and it grew and it grew and it became something so beautiful. I then realized that actually, this is something I do want to do. And I was still doing domestic abuse coaching, but I did the crystals on the side and the oracle balls. I then collected enough money to then save up to actually start buying things like a washing machine, a kettle, because I knew that he wouldn't let me stay in the house. And lo and behold, he didn't. So he kicked us out in COVID. So we had to find a rental, which we did. And when all of that happened, my whole world crumbled. So then I had to pause the businesses and just kind of focus on me and the children. So I don't think I realized how bad it was going to be. And everything just, yeah, it just got worse and worse and worse. But eventually I started to get deeper into spirituality for myself rather than for anybody else. And I started to discover energy and things around energy and working with the earth's energy and just really finding like-minded people as well that just got it and who were telling me and teaching me these things that I was like, oh my gosh, I never knew about that and about trauma. And I was really trauma informed, trained anyway through my other job, but bringing that in with the spirituality, I was like, this is beautiful. Like this could help so many women. So I realized actually that's what I want to do. So I created my spiritual business and I did it with force and with confidence. So it was born and it was actually Daya moon coaching to start off with. And then I changed it to female fire with Alessia. But honestly, the journey that business has been on, it has pivoted and it has just gone boom. Yes, I've had lots of judgments. Yes, I've been called all sorts of things. Yes, my parents took a while to get their head around it. I still don't think my dad understands what I do, but it's who I am and I'm sticking by it. And all of that work has healed me from the trauma that I went through with the abuse. And so now I'm able to help women with my trauma-informed training, my energy healing work, and also my spirituality and create this incredible kind of world for them to feel safe and feel held and to help them on their journey, help them find themselves, help them find their voice. I think that's really important.
Mm.
And, I've got baby number 4 now, renovating a house and all these things I've manifested. So it just every day I'm like, oh my God, I'm so grateful. And every day I meet new incredible women in my world that it's just amazing. I just feel really grateful. And the journey I've been on has literally been okay, then it's gone down and it's now going, oh my goodness, I am so grateful for everything and everyone. And finding that moon on
Yeah.
Instagram and discovering that has just changed everything. So yeah,
Yeah. I
it's
love that. And
been,
I think it's so lovely to hear when someone has been on such a journey, but just followed what keeps coming up and not
yeah.
shutting it off. Because I think so many people in your situation
Mm.
would have heard all of that in their external reality and just thought,
Yeah,
it's not for me. Like I need to follow this other path. This makes more
yeah.
logical sense and
It's
kind
that
of shut
box,
that
isn't
off.
it?
Yeah,
Mm.
100%. So the fact that you've actually followed your kind of soul gift. And I think it's really interesting. You talked about how you can feel energy in the room and you just assume everyone could. We
Yeah.
all do, don't we? Like those of us that are in tune and we can pick up on people's energy. And
Yeah.
when you can meet people and you're like, something's off with their energy. I can't even
Yeah.
put my finger on what it is. Sometimes you
Yeah.
literally cannot describe what it is, but there's something that just doesn't feel good. You
Yeah.
just assume everyone can do that.
Yeah, I really did, and I could do it from a little child, like
Yeah.
really young. And I think, oh, like I just
Yeah.
honestly, like you just thought that's just what we do as humans, but no.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, isn't it, really? And then things start to slot together like a jigsaw puzzle. You're like, oh, so that's what that means. Oh, that I can do. That's what that means. And yeah, it just comes together and
Yeah.
creates this beautiful picture.
Is there one kind of modality or form of healing that you have found has really helped you the most? Or would you say there's been a real combination of all the different things that you work with?
I think it's a combination of everything. And when I look at the journey, it started off with crystals, then it went and the moon, crystals, then it went on to things like the earth and working together with like herbs and flowers and the energies and energy healing. And it just kind of kept evolving like that. And I think every time that I was going through another level of healing, I'd discover something else. And that's how it seems to have happened. It's almost like the path has been set up and
Mm.
that's how I was meant to do it in my healing process. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I think it's really interesting as well because I think like one thing that I keep hearing a lot at the moment is I think we get these threads, don't we, of ideas and we're kind of going down one path. I talk a lot about the pivots that I've been on and how I'm kind of moving away from like brand and website design things and helping people that are spiritually awake and that are healers to be visible in a way that feels good for them. And that's not necessarily about website or design or things. But one thing I've found in part of my own journey is seeing opportunities for me to learn about various healing modalities. And I think, like you with the moon, it's that first nudge. So at the moment, I just keep getting signs for animal Reiki and sound healing, literally all the
oh,
time. Like
love
everywhere I go,
that.
there might be an ad that pops up, or I might have a
Yeah,
conversation with someone and we naturally start talking about that. And I think,
yeah,
okay, I'm getting all the signs now. And I think obviously that's an invitation for me to explore those things. It doesn't
yeah,
necessarily mean you need to drop everything you're doing to follow those nudges. But I think when you're open to
yeah,
just exploring and even having it on the side as like another tool that you can have
yeah,
in your kit that you can support people with. But I think,
absolutely.
yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it? And I think where
Mhm.
you have obviously gone on this path and learned all these different things, and you've now got that in your whole toolkit that you're able to help people, you can just create an even bigger impact with the work that you do, can't you?
Absolutely. And I think one of the things I always teach my clients is listen to yourself.
Mm.
So I think especially as women, we just kind of go through each day. It's like go, 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 this to-do list, this checklist. Oh my gosh, have I done that? Have I done the weekly shop? Have I got my rest? Do you know what I mean? We are constant on it, right? With everything else, but we're never on it with us. We almost put ourselves last. So one of the things I teach is really being intuitive, listening to her inside of you. And I think the moment I started to do that, that's when everything really dramatically changed. That's when I was able to manifest things that I out of my wildest dreams. That's when I've been able to really make an impact with women because I stopped the whole masculine way of doing business. I don't have a schedule of when I do my content. I don't do emails. I don't do anything like that. I don't do launching, nothing. I'm mostly my intuition. I'll literally feel into something. That's how I've created the programs I've done. That's how I've been able to expand on my gifts. I kept getting signs to go to this specific hotel. It looked amazing. And I was cooking once and I saw it again and I thought, wow, I'm just going to book it. Honestly, Jackie, if you say the story to someone else, it'll be like midlife crisis. But
Alarm bells.
yeah, literally. Like I was like, I don't think I've got the money, but okay. Like stirring my sauce, booked it. I went to my partner. I was like, we're going to this place. And he was like, where's that? Don't know. It's just a really nice hotel. I just keep feeling like I need to go. So I keep seeing it. And then from that, it ended up being in Greece, which was literally 20 minutes to the temple of Athena, which is who I was connecting to at the time. And that's where my psychic medium gifts blew up on a whole different
Wow.
level. And my whole path is like that now. So everything I create for the women I work with is all through my intuition. It'll just come to me like that, a program, or I'll just get a name and I'm like, what does this mean? And I've got to trust that it's all going to unfold.
What do
And
I do with these downloads?
yeah, like, what is this? And it'll come at the most random of times. And I just have to be patient. And then then it all falls into place. And there's a reason why our intuition is so important. It's because that is what can completely transform your life and give you the tools and give you the experiences that maybe you wouldn't if you weren't listening to her inside.
Mm.
So yeah.
How can you develop that self-trust with yourself? Because I think it's easy for people like where we're at the stages we're at now, because we've already started the work, we're already healing, we've already gone through various journeys and experienced these modalities and made that choice. Because I do think everything is very much a choice. We've chosen different paths for ourselves. How, for those that are in a situation where they are feeling in lack, they're feeling like they're frustrated, they can't escape whatever it is they're trying to escape from, how does somebody in that stage go from where they're feeling right now into having that self-trust for themselves?
I think the key with that is coming back to themselves. When we're at a point where we feel lost, it's because we have come away from who we are. And we are either being pulled into another direction that isn't meant for us, or we have kind of escaped ourselves and got so stuck in everything that isn't spirituality, basically, in the kind of rat run, like they call it. So the key to that is come back to self. And one of the most simplest things you can do to help yourself do that is go out in nature with your bare hands, your bare feet, sit in your garden, put your hand on your heart and take deep breaths. That's all you've got to do. And do that once a day and just build on the amount of time you can dedicate to that. And that will start to heal you in ways that nothing else can, because it's Mother Nature, right? It's her
Mm,
energy. And that will really regulate the nervous system. When we lose ourselves and we're out of touch and we're not trusting ourselves, our nervous system is shot. It's all over the place. We need to bring it back down again. So if you can start to do that, that will really help build that relationship with yourself, which will help build that trust. And then from that, you start to listen to yourself. You'll get signs, ask for signs. Like you're getting signs,
yeah.
just ask for it. Some people say to me, but how can I get guided? Like, how can I be guided into things? Like, what do I look for? And I'm like, just ask, sit back and allow it to come to you. When you open yourself, which can feel very vulnerable, but when you open yourself to the universe, to God, to whatever you want to call it, that's when they'll say, oh, okay, she's ready. So then they'll start to give you things. They'll start to give you signs. Know that your path is paved out for you. Know that the universe will never push you into something you're not ready to do. It's always there holding you, and your spirit team is with you all the time. Trust them and build that by every day talking to them. and it will all, honestly, it will just flow and come together beautifully. So
I
yeah.
love that. That is such a gorgeous way to finish this episode.
Yeah.
Do you have any kind of pieces that have happened in your own journey, any pivotal moments that have really helped you to become who you are today?
Probably Greece. That story. I started to connect deeply with the energy of the rose, and so I saw loads and loads of roses all the time onto the build up to booking that hotel. And then when I went there, it was actually in the town of the Rose, right by the Temple of Athena. And when I went there that day, that's when that was the moment things just collapsed in a good way, collapsed to then be built in the most incredible way, if that makes sense.
Mm,
Um, that's where I connected to that energy of that place and found a part of me I never knew was there. And so from that, it just really built my relationship with myself and with the universe, and it expanded my gifts in incredible ways. So I think that was my pivotal moment, was that. And I had to trust that in a big way to go there and to book that without even knowing where it was. But doing that, saying yes and taking that step created a beautiful experience for me.
I love
Yeah.
that. That is so beautiful. And I love Greece anyway. There's something about it, isn't there? It's like a
I've
really
never
magical
been.
place.
It was lush. My mum's lived there, and I was just like,
Yeah.
Mama, I'm going here. And she was like, Oh God, what now? And I was like, Yeah, go in here.
Here she goes again.
Yeah, here we are.
Oh, Alessia, thank you so much for coming on
Oh,
today. It's
it's
been
my
lovely to hear your
pleasure.
story. And I'm sure there's going to be plenty of people that have listened to this that have really felt called to reach out to you. So, where is the best place to connect with you?
Probably my Instagram. It's at Female Fire with Alessia, and yeah, everything is on there, absolutely everything. And I've actually got something starting in September called The Remembrance, and that is literally about women remembering who they are,
I
finding their
love
voices again, finding their confidence, and discovering their soul purpose, and getting that spark back. And I think, like I said, as women, I think we go along our journey and we forget about ourselves. It's about coming back to ourselves. So yeah, if anyone's interested in that, just head on over there.
Sounds incredible. I'll pop all the links in the show notes below.
Thank
If
you
you've
so
enjoyed this
much.
episode, please do reach out to Alessia and myself. Leave a review as well. It honestly means the world to read your reviews. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and I will be back for another one very soon. Thank you so much, Alessia.
Thanks. Take care.
Bye, guys.
Bye.